the momentum that we're seeing in this campaign is just, it's continuing to just grow and grow and grow. We started off very humbly 14 months ago and 22 points down, and what we saw a week and a half ago, we were 10 points down, and then our poll showed that we're 6 points down, and it's even more encouraging that because both the national poll and our poll showed that King's in the low 40s, and for an 8-time incumbent, anytime you're at 50% or below, you're extremely vulnerable, and then when you're at that low, you're extremely vulnerable. And so we're putting in the hard work. Sioux City Sue is going with me to all 39 counties. We're doing a town hall in all 39 counties. We call it the Can't Fake Showing Up Tour. So the things that I know from here on out, I know we're going to go to all 39 counties. I know that we're going to blitz the airways with ads, and those are going to get our name recognition up. But that unknown factor is, what are we going to do? The volunteers, the door knocking, the texting, the phone banking. Those are the things that are going to push us and go from a 6-point race to a 1-point race to razor-thin margins. And I am absolutely convinced this is going to come down to razor-thin margins. And so any vote, any percentage we can push is so important. So if you don't think that door knocking today or phone calling today matters, it absolutely does. And we're going to have a huge get out to vote movement. And so if anybody doesn't know, Erica is our field organizer down here, and she does a phenomenal job. If you want to canvass, if you want to, which is the most important thing, if you want to phone bank, if you want to text, go see her. She will get you connected. And there's a lot of folks here that have already done it for us, and this, especially this little man, I've seen him out there. So if he can do it, we all can do it, and I'll let Representative Swalwell do what he does best and woo you all.
Morning. How you guys doing?
Right.
Good. We're going to send JD to Congress?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm here because I believe in JD. A couple weeks ago, I got to ride all over the 4th District in Sioux City Sioux, and I'm glad to see that she's back on her feet too. I saw that she was out for a day, and I thought, JD, do you need me to send some parts from California? We'll do whatever it takes to keep her running and getting you around. But you know what? Something JD and I observed when I was on the trail has stuck with me for the last couple weeks, and I think about it every single day. JD pointed out that when you go to a gas station in most parts of Iowa, you see the fundraising campaigns that are underway for somebody who has a health emergency or a health event in their life. And I started looking, and we were at Love's yesterday and Casey's the day before, and you see these flyers, and you see these beautiful kids, or you see these leaders in the community, and they've got cancer, Parkinson's, ALS, and people in the community are digging deep and pitching in and trying to help out. That's not America. It's what we do, being charitable and helping each other, but your fate, your ability to be healthy and provide for yourself and your family, it shouldn't depend on someone that you don't know going to the gas station and putting a couple dimes or a couple dollars in a jar. We should take care of each other. And we should do that because we have policymakers in Washington who make sure that happens for everyone. And JD gets that more than I think most of the candidates I've seen, and it's so personal to him. And so that's why I keep coming back and keep helping him. And as he said, I grew up in this district, so I've got a personal stake here as well. Yesterday I was in West Des Moines, and a woman named Diane, who has MS, invited a bunch of people into her home so she could help Cindy Axney, who's going to beat David Young in the 3rd District. And Diane told us about her own story of being diagnosed pretty early in her life with MS, and that you could see Diane, and she looks great, but she's a senior and struggling and fighting with MS, and she made this beautiful introduction of Diane, and she told us she was doing it, bringing Cindy and all of Cindy's friends and supporters into her house because Diane wants someone who's going to fight for the future healthcare patients. She knows that chances of us doing something in her lifetime, those are very small, but she cares about the future. And I've heard so many people tell me that they're doing this for the future. And sir, you just brought me a picture of your granddaughter, Olivia, who's in North Carolina. And that's what this is about, is none of us showed up today for ourselves. It's for our family and the future. And JD represents the future, I think, better than most. He's the best of his generation, but he needs your help. 7 years ago, I was 31 years old and stepped up and ran against a long-time incumbent. It was a year-long campaign just like this one. And a couple weeks before Election Day, I got my final poll. We couldn't afford to do any more polls like leading up to it, so about 5 to 6 weeks out, took one more poll. And I was 5 points down. And I told my friends and I told my family, after a year of doing this, being 5 points down with 5 to 6 weeks to go, I'll take it. I can close that. Because I was confident that the people around me, the people who had put everything in, blood, sweat, and tears, they could bring it home for us. And that's where JD is right now. This race is winnable.
Yes.
It's winnable. JD can close it with your help. But it is going to take everything. It's going to take absolutely everything. The phone calls, the text messages, the postcards, the door knocks, getting him in to, you said 39 counties? Holy
39.
smokes. Yeah. That's the biggest district in Iowa, right?
It is.
It's got to
Yeah.
be. Getting him in
Get bigger.
to every house, having every imaginable gathering, coffee, house party, and telling his story. That's what it's going to take. And I know this man, he's going to do everything he can to deliver for you. So if you can do everything you can to work as hard for him as we all know he will work for us, we can win. And we can make history. And what a beautiful headline it would be on November 7. Democrats win the House. Subheadline, Steve King loses. That would be in every newspaper in America. It would be in every newspaper in America. So I believe in JD, I believe in you, because the reason that he has made it this far is because of how hard you've worked. And you've come to know him, you've seen his passion, you've seen the team that he's built around him, and we're going to bring it home. 44 days. Is that right, 44? 44 days. And let me just tell you what a future Congress looks like. To me, winning the House is not about power. It's not take back the House. It's not a power grab. It's not going back in time. It's about the future. It's seeing this as a big blank canvas where when it comes to healthcare, we're not only going to protect people's care, we're going to have a healthcare guarantee in America. That if you're sick, you'll be seen, and if you're seen, you won't go broke because of it. When it comes to your paychecks, we're going to have careers that people can count on because we invest in infrastructure, not just building modern schools in every community and the roads and bridges and tunnels that we need, but also greening our grid so that it's no longer a false choice in America between clean air and clean water and your job. But we can put people to work, not on the dirtiest fossil fuels, but on the cleanest. And when it comes to the corruption in Washington, D.C., we can actually do something about the dirty maps and the dirty money. We can do in every state in America what Iowa and California did, independent redistricting, so that it's a battle of ideas, not partisan drawn maps to protect politicians and their friends. And when it comes to money, the two of us agree, and I think we're going to have a lot more colleagues who agree, it's time to strip down to the studs the Citizens United ruling and move to publicly financed campaigns. We can do all of that, and it starts here. Thank you so much for welcoming JD into your communities, for doing all you can to get JD across the finish line. But I believe in J D Scholetn. I get excited about this race because I just see someone who selflessly is stepping up and doing everything he can for the people around him. And I'll just end on this, JD. I hear from so many Iowans that they want to see their kids be able to grow up in this community, go to school in this community, and stay and raise their family in this community. And he saw going away for college and then wanting to come back home that there was just a dearth of jobs. And he had to work in Minnesota. And he said, that's not right. Like, our best export cannot be our young talent. And he knows that priority number one is to make sure that they have jobs here so that young Iowans can go to school and then come back and raise their families where they grew up. And he thinks about that every day because that's personal to him, and he carries that with him. That's why I'm so fired up for JD. So the future is very bright for the 4th Congressional District, and it's going to be even brighter on November 6th when we send J D Scholetn to Congress. We're going to do that? All right. Let's get to work.
Couple things. I just want to say that, Representative Swalwell doesn't have to be here, We started off very humbly in our campaign. We're not a DCCC backed campaign. We're very independent, and we're scratching and clawing everything we have. And it's so special to have somebody like Representative Swalwell to be here and help us and do the little things. It's very meaningful, and I can't thank you enough. So, thank you. Erica's our field organizer. She's going to talk just a little bit about a couple things and what you can do, and then that's it.
For us to work.
All right.
Hey everybody, so if you haven't met me yet, you should definitely come in here more. Because I'm in here all the time. So, if you didn't get signed in, I would love it if you would, throw your name down. Steph and I will both have sign-in sheets on your way out. But we would love it if everyone would do a little volunteering for me today before you leave. Just an hour's fine. If you can do a full packet, that'd be great. Canvassing is really important. Knocking on doors is the most effective way to get people. But we also have plenty of phone calls for you to do. We've got texts you can send so you can see what type of volunteering works best for you. But if you would just do a little bit to help us get JD elected and get signed up for another time to come in. I'd love to see all of your wonderful faces a little bit more in here. So, thank you guys. And Linda will be having a canvass at 2. So if you want to let Linda know, or you can tell me if you want to canvass for her at 2, we'll make sure Carrie knows, and Carrie will have a packet for you. So.
Can I add something?
And Barb wants to add something.
So if anybody hasn't door knocked and you're a little intimidated about it, it's much easier than you would think. It's Iowa nice, people are nice to you, and they actually appreciate it and like to get the
There's
information.
like 2 jerks out there. I've met both of them. They're taken care of.
Okay, so
They won't answer the door.
see, there you go. So
It's
it
2
really
assholes.
is.
The rest of them are really
It's
nice.
really effective, and people appreciate it. So
They do.
that's my 2 cents worth.
They do. No,
And Linda wants to talk to y'all too. And so does Lewis.
So I'm with formerly the coordinated campaign, but now we're calling it Campaign for Iowa. And we're working for everybody, from Hubble all the way down to the ticket to the county treasurer and county supervisors. So what our focus is going to be for the next 44 days, thanks for bringing that number up. Every night I think about what the next day is when I go to bed. So like she just mentioned, we're going door to door, in particular to get out the vote. We have targeted the universe that we're looking at are those Democrats that they're good Democrats. They always get out and vote in those presidential elections, but not in the off-year elections. So that's who we're really focusing on, and knocking on those doors are really simple. They're Democrats. And there's a few no party registered folks in there that, for whatever data we have, tells us they tend to vote with Democrats. So knocking on their doors or calling them up to ask them to volunteer is a pretty easy task compared to some of the other things. So please join us, please sign up, get in here. We've got plenty of shifts to fill between now and the 44 days left in the campaign. Okay?
And hi, I'm Linda Murken, and I just want to add a little bit to what Erica said, and thank you for getting that on. If you would like to canvass for me, the best way to get set up to do that, either with a paper walk list or on the minivan, if you want to use your device of whatever sort, is to email Carrie Katz, who's my volunteer campaign manager. You don't need to remember her name, just remember murkencampaign@gmail.com. MURKEN campaign@gmail.com. No punctuation between Murken and campaign. So like I said, she's doing the walk list for people. She's getting people set up with the minivan. So that is the best way. And yes, we do need your help. After this, there are only 2 more weekends until early voting starts. And we want to make sure that everybody is as much as possible understands the issues, understands that they should vote early. They need to vote down ballot because we no longer have straight ticket voting. And in the case of the county supervisors, they need to vote for both Linda and Josh. Thank you very much.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Yes, I agree.
It's a really tough. Fairfield, North Carolina. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I think we need to personalize the campaign about who we're fighting for and get everybody invested in it.
But you're going to win. So
Thank you.
I'm going to stick on that.
I like it. I like it.
So here's the question.